Hey everyone, welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. Sorry for the long wait, I had a bit of a cold and lost my voice for a bit there. Today we're going to be looking at Season 1, Episode 4, titled simply, Conduit. The episode starts as a family is out camping in the woods. Darlene Morris, the mother, is startled awake by the RV shaking in a bright light. She burns her hand on the handle while her young son screams for her. She opens the door and Kevin tells her Ruby, her daughter, is gone. At the FBI headquarters, Scully is in the office of Chief Blevins. He tells her Mulder is open to 302 on a case he deems to be nothing more than a tabloid headline. Scully admits it's strange even for Mulder. Blevins hands her a file he believes may be the reason why Mulder is interested in this case. He asks if Mulder has shared any of this with her.
She disappeared 21 years ago.
Blevins asks her if she believes Mulder's personal agenda has clouded his professional judgment. He states Mulder's obsession with these matters has been a sore spot on the Bureau and he's going to disallow this case. Scully tells him she'll have a word with Mulder. In the office, she explains she doesn't think it's warranted and Mulder tells her they aren't always going to agree. Scully is skeptical, of Mulder's source, but he assures her asking questions is the essence of science, something that seems to fall on deaf ears these days. She asks what makes it more credible than other tabloids. He tells her it's a hot spot for UFO sightings. There were 4 sightings in August 1967, including one by a National Weather Service plane. He shows her a picture taken by 4 Girl Scouts with an Instamatic. He has Scully read off the names of the Girl Scouts.
It's the same Darlene Morris.
They head over to Darlene Morris's house. Darlene introduces the agents to her son Kevin, who is sitting at the table and drawing. Mulder is having a moment with some of the photographs as he's thinking about his sister. I can say he and I definitely don't share the same relationship with our sisters. Darlene tells the agents how hard it's been for her and how her son is just shut off. Scully brings up a custody battle, but Darlene shuts it down right quick. Mulder asks if he can speak to her young son Kevin. He asks Kevin what he's doing and if he can see it. And while Kevin in a scene lifted straight from Poltergeist,
it's coming from there.
Mulder doesn't know what it is, but asks a man named Danny to analyze it for him. Sheriff Withers speaks to Mulder, telling him he found no evidence of kidnapping and believes Ruby just ran away. He also doesn't believe Darlene's story, as she's been telling us since the 1st grade. He then goes on to degrade Ruby, basically implying she's no good and somewhat of a harlot, and something was bound to happen to her eventually. Outside, Mulder gets a note saying, "I'm across the street, follow me." The agents follow a woman who goes into the local library. They meet Tessa, who tells them Ruby was set to meet her boyfriend Greg up at a lake. Apparently they had to talk about some things.
Greg got Ruby pregnant. I don't know, whatever. She got herself pregnant.
Now, I'm not a scientist, but I don't think one can get themselves pregnant. Tessa claims Ruby was going to leave town. The agents ask where they can find Greg, and she tells them all he's ever done was pour beer at a local bar. Then she just disappears like she's David Blaine or some shit.
Sure you didn't buy a teddy bear?
Yes, I'm sure I didn't. Yeah. Teddy bear, what the F?
The agents head to the bar and run into Ogre of all people. They ask where they can find Greg and he tells them he hasn't seen him in 3 weeks. Mulder notices his tattoo and is immediately triggered.
Hey, that's a nice tattoo.
No, it's not Mulder. Mulder asks him about UFOs and pretends to be a skeptic. That night, Mulder is visited by the NSA asking where he got the document. It's a defense satellite transmission. The agents ask Mulder where it came from and he tells them smugly he'll let them know when he finds out. Scully let them know where it came from and yeah, Mulder ain't too impressed with that. The next day, the NSA are at Darlene's place just ransacking the whole thing. Darlene sees the agents and gives them one hell of a look. The NSA leave and Mulder, while looking out a window, notices the top of the RV is burnt. It looks like when I forget a frozen pizza in the oven. Back at the FBI regional office, the agents get an update on the scanned pages. The pages appear to show little fragments of scientific and artistic endeavors. Darlene walks by the agents and she is pissed. She wants the agents to leave her and her son the hell alone. Mulder claims her son has seen something, but she's not in the mood. Mulder believes Kevin is a conduit.
He said it! He said it!
Scully tells Mulder she knows why this case is so important to him, but there's no evidence of an abduction. Mulder and Scully head to the lake where the incident occurred to find some. Mulder points out the tree line being burnt, and Scully of course claims it could have been an electrical storm. I'm surprised she didn't say it was swamp gas, to be honest. Mulder finds a piece of glass formed from the melting of the surrounding sand, which would take an enormous amount of heat. He believes it's the same heat that singed the trees and burnt the roof off the camper. A very beautiful wolf emerges from the woods, which leads them to a shallow grave. He begins to uncover it, but Scully has to intervene because he's disturbing a crime scene. The following day, the local sheriff's department uncover the body of Greg, Ruby's boyfriend. The agents find a note in Greg's wallet, which when compared to the one given to them by Tessa, shows the writing on both to be the same. Tessa is brought in shortly by local PD. Turns out Tessa was the one who got pregnant by Greg, so now Mulder starts coming at her hard.
That's what she said.
and gets her to admit she was there that night, confirming she killed Greg and would have killed Ruby if given the chance. Now, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I feel had she not met with the agents at all, none of this would have ever led back to her. Mulder is going to talk to Kevin because he still believes there's a connection. Scully tells him to stop.
Mulder, stop! Stop running after your sister.
The agents arrive at the Morris house and look for the family. More of those papers are scattered all over the floor. Scully asks what they mean, and Mulder doesn't know.
01011000101. What does it mean?
It's just gibberish.
She heads upstairs and tells Mulder to come up here. A picture of Ruby is formed from the patterns on the papers. The agents head back to the lake and find Darlene's camper. In the woods they find Darlene and she tells the agents she saw it and that she couldn't keep up with Kevin. Mulder runs into a clearing where he sees Kevin and a bright light coming from the woods. He grabs Kevin and pulls him out of the way just as a bunch of bikers come roaring through the trees. Kevin says Ruby is here, he knows it, and we hear Scully yelling off in the distance for Mulder. Ruby is found in the woods and Scully is giving chest compressions. At the hospital, Scully can't seem to figure out what caused her unusual symptoms. Mulder suggests it was from prolonged weightlessness, as astronauts have claimed to experience the same thing. The agents meet with Ruby to see how she's doing, and Mulder asks her where she's been.
I'm not supposed to tell. They told me not to say.
Darlene comes in the room and tells Ruby she doesn't have to tell them a goddamn thing. Her mother takes the agents into the hallway and tells them she has her daughter's back and she doesn't want any trouble. She doesn't want her daughter to deal with the ridicule and heartache she had to endure, and leaves the agents. Scully is listening to a hypnotic regression therapy recording of Mulder talking about the night his sister went missing, and we get one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the entire franchise.
Because of the voice.
The voice?
The voice in my head.
What's it telling you?
Not to be afraid. It's telling me that no harm will come to her. And that one day she'll return.
Do you believe the voice?
I want to believe.
And that right there, folks, marks the first time Mulder says, "I want to believe," one of the phrases most synonymous with this series. Conduit is another great episode and really one of the most important. This episode really drives home the importance of Mulder's mission and what this whole thing really means to him. I think even Scully is starting to understand just what he's going through and what he's dealing with. The disappearance of his sister has driven him not just to find her, but to help others like her. Before I go, I should point out one huge glaring flaw, though, that keeps me up at night. A goddamn boom mic. Well, that's all from me. If you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate if you could subscribe and turn on the notification bell to get alerted when a new episode drops. Thanks for watching and take care.